Good morning, good morning, good morning. I see everybody's coming back to us for some coffee before class. It's 9 a.m. here in cold Chicago. I've got my seasonal coffee. If you guys can use the chat feature, let me know where you're coming in from this morning. It's good to be back. I know it was about 18 months ago. We were 2 weeks away from ending COVID. So congratulations to making it to December 2021. Um, Back by popular demand, we're going to be doing these coffee breaks in the morning right now, every Friday going forward. When I say popular demand, today we're talking about honesty. And I think the real reason we're doing this is I think some of our instructors missed being able to see themselves on camera every morning. So we figured we'd give them a chance to do that again. But we're excited to do these little tips and kind of some suggested interview strategies every week, or maybe some other information shared by our instructors. Today, I just want to talk about the importance of honesty, which seems kind of ironic to talk about how important it is to be honest during an interview. So my first question to everybody is, I see we've got, good morning, Megan. We've got a few folks on this morning, is let me know where you're logging in from today. I'm curious what kind of reach we have, and don't say I'm logging in from my living room. I don't really care about that. I mean, where are you logging in from geographically? Hopefully we've got people kind of coast to coast. Morning, Jack from Plano, Texas. Tony's talking about my shirt, so I'm proud to wear my Elite Training Day shirt. We had an awesome event in Nashville this year. For those of you that joined us through the International Association of Interviewers, really cool event. One of our best speakers I thought we had was George Piro, the lead interrogator for Saddam Hussein. Really awesome event. We got Glenn from Canada. We got Michigan, Dean in sunny Arizona, Philadelphia, Colorado, Palm Beach, Maryland. Awesome. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us this morning. So when I talk about honesty and we think about an interview, I can't tell you how many times I have heard an interviewer ask the subject, just please be honest. I just want you to be honest with me. And so what I want to just talk about today for a couple of minutes is how important it is for us to be honest as interviewers. And the three kind of main takeaways I have is to be honest about what your subject's rights might be, to be honest about what evidence we might have, and then to be honest about what consequences could come from the results of the case. When we think about this, morning, Dre, I see you on from Ohio. We got Dallas, North Carolina. You guys are still popping in. Awesome. We think about these three categories. We say being honest about somebody's rights. I know we've got a combination of both law enforcement on our chat this morning, as well as private sector. So in the law enforcement sector, and we think about advising of Miranda, and in the private sector, you might think about somebody's rights as an employee to get up and leave at any time, right? The freedom to leave. And what we've seen and what the research shows is actually the more transparent we are about somebody's rights, the more likely they are to cooperate. If you think about it, if you tell somebody that they have to stay in the room and they have to talk to you, all that does is encourage them not to. And you've all experienced this probably with your kids or significant others, right? The more you ask them to do something, the less they want to do it. So one of the takeaways about being honest is making sure when we advise of Miranda, we're being transparent and we're being forthcoming in what their rights actually are. And if you are in a company that actually advises somebody that they have the right to leave, that they don't have to sit and talk to you, and in fact, it's a voluntary conversation. Although this is counterintuitive, that actually encourages people to stay and have a conversation because you are being transparent and you're being honest. The second piece I want to talk about, morning, Joe Wolf from DC, one of our wonderful instructors and leads our federal division. We've got North Carolina. You guys are still waking up this morning. Seeing a little bit of the West Coast. I know it's early for those of you. Those of you guys on the East Coast probably had your mimosas already, had brunch this morning. No more coffee. It's Friday, thank God. Second piece I want to talk about was evidence. Being honest about evidence. Now, I don't want you to reveal evidence, right? We want to withhold evidence. So that way we don't contaminate a confession. And this way we know if somebody provides us information, it didn't come from us, it came from them. But what I don't want us to do is to fabricate or lie about the existence of evidence. All too often we hear investigators talk about evidence that they have, but they don't actually have that. When we lie about evidence, it could incentivize a false confession. It could also contaminate a true confession, a good confession. Now, it's okay to talk about general investigative techniques. When you think about the WZ method and we talk about how we conduct investigations in general terms, that's great and that's important to establish credibility. But what I don't want us to do is to lie about the existence of evidence. Again, that can ruin your credibility and damage the integrity of the investigation. And then the last piece, when we talk about honesty as an interviewer, are consequences. Now, I'm not saying that when you have an interview, an employee come into your office for an interview and you say, hey, just so you know, you're about to get fired. I'm not suggesting that. But what I am suggesting is I don't want us to suggest leniency or make any promises that, hey, if somebody cooperates, they're going to get a better deal. Right? We shouldn't be making any suggestions where somebody is surprised at the end of a conversation that there's some type of punishment. Now, we want to avoid harsh words. We don't want to further embarrass or shame somebody. But statements like, hey, if you just tell me the truth, everything's going to be okay, suggest promises or suggest leniency. And I also want you to think, I know there's been a really great trend in training and focus on organized retail crime. I'm curious how many folks on the call here have to deal with organized retail crime. I just saw some craziness in California. We just saw Florida launch a state organized retail crime task force, which is awesome. But if you're talking, your team has to interact with a shoplifter. Or in the law enforcement world, if you're conducting a field interview, if a subject knows they're about to get arrested, and I've seen this in shoplifting cases, and a loss prevention agent says, hey, just come back in the office. I just want to talk to you about some paperwork. That's it. We'll get you out of here. If the subject knows that the police are coming inevitably, they also know you just lied to them. So again, not that I want to throw out consequences in front of somebody, but let's be a little bit more transparent, a little bit more honest, while still withholding our evidence, not talking directly about the consequences, and making sure people know their rights in the interview. Those are my quick tips for this morning. Hopefully you guys enjoy your coffee. Maybe you have a different seasonal mug than I do. I'm trying to match beards here with Mr. Claus. Set your calendar every Friday for the rest of the holiday season. We're gonna join you all. I see Johnny at ORC in Minnesota. You guys got another great Orca group up there. Hopefully you guys have a great month. Hopefully you've started your holiday shopping. Stay safe out there and stay tuned. You'll see another one of our instructors next Friday. Have a good weekend.